Hey gang, it's Deltia from deltiasgaming.com here to bring you a frame rates per second video on Elder Scrolls Online patch 1.6. ESO up there basically RAM that the GPUs or graphics cards allow you to use, and everyone that I play with was kind of noticing a performance increase, and I wanted to put it to the test. So I'm going to test a normal 1080p monitor and also test it on DSA, which is kind of like a 4K upscaling, and then finally I'm lucky enough to have a 4K monitor and test it there. So if you're interested in benchmarking and seeing Elder Scrolls Online high performance graphics, this video is for you. So let's get started and kind of outline my rig, what I use for this test. For this project, I'm using a tri-slot GPU setup, my Blue Bentley. It is amazing. I have an Intel i7 Extreme Edition processor, liquid cooled with an Asus Rampage motherboard, 16 gigs of RAM, 2 hard drives, one for storage, one for speed. Like I said, 3-way SLI and an awesome case with 1200 watts of power. This thing is a monster. Here's my 3-way SLI setup, maximize performance for this video. Here's the Nvida GeForce Experience recommended settings for Elder Scrolls Online. And here is my in-game video display setup. 1080p for my first test with Vsync and AAA enabled. And here's the programs that we're running during this test. And lastly, here's the quality settings that I use for record. 1080p HD at 60 frames a second. It looks beautiful. The monitors I'll be using for this test are a 1080p Asus PG2780 monitor. The second is my 4K monitor, an Acer XB280HK with Gsycn technology. And here's a picture of the images side by side. As you can see, both look sharp, but that Acer has so much more detail. For this test, I wanted to keep it as simple as possible in the route that I chose. I started here at the bank in Belkarth, and then carry on all the way out into the area by the way shrine through Ethereum archives. The reason why I picked this location is because this is where many people spawn as they create new characters in the PTS. So you have a good balance of people casting random animations, plus you have a nice little outro in the middle of the field where your frame rates can kind of hit nice numbers. No, this isn't Cyrodiil, which I want to practice later to see if the results drastically change, which I know they will. But this is giving you a good benchmark and kind of see the quality. So, for example, I go here with the Belkarth banking house. This is kind of where the area where the frame rate dips as a lot of people are standing. Then I go all the way out here to Eleanor Way Shrine. That takes about 2 minutes roughly. No, this isn't the scientific method where everything is exactly the same, but it's a pretty good close rough estimate. So now I'm going to show you the video with the details of the results. You can skip forward to see the specific one you want. Feel free to click the description in the video below for which frame rate per second video and benchmark you'd like to see. Let's get started. For the first video, we recorded 1080p at 60 frames a second with Vsync enabled, essentially trying to remove screen tear. The results were pretty interesting. About 2 minutes, minimum of 11 frames per second, 90 max was 62.8 frames per second average. That's with Vsync enabled. As you can see from this video here, the graphics are amazing riding through Belkarth. The graphics only get better the further I go out, and you're welcome to watch the rest of this ride. For the second video, we did 1080p at 60 frames a second, Vsync disabled. So you would think you get a large performance increase, but actually no. We did about the same amount of frames, about the same amount of time, a minimum of a 28, 93, and an average FPS of 62.4. So you would think that you would get added performance not having Vsync enabled, but not really so much, which was a surprising factor for me, including that the screen tear was a little bit harsher without Vsync. Another interesting part of this test is I did it again with the DSA upscaling, which is kind of a way to get the 4K resolution without having a 4K monitor. Now, from the bird's eye view, it didn't look that much improved, and the performance only lost 2 frames a second. So, if you're looking for a 4K solution without the big cost, you might want to think about DSA upscaling. Though, personally, 4K is a much better visual indicator if you ask me. Lastly is the big 4K. There is no in-game recording software that I could get to show it in 4K or publish this video, but the results were interesting nonetheless. Basically doing the exact same run, we had a little less time, 6 minimum frames, 56 max, and 49 frames per second average. That's not too bad, but it's not too good either. Using tri-slot a GPU, I should have hit higher, I think, in this bell curve area. Though it was at night, there's a lot of animations and a lot of lighting. Plus, the game was set on ultra. And if you've never seen 4K, it is utterly amazing. It transforms the game and making it like a whole new game. So 50 frames a second roughly, I'm not going to shy at, but I wish I could hit that 60 mark. Feel free to watch the rest of this run. Well, that concludes our little benchmarking test for patch 1.6 in Elder Scrolls Online. What did you guys think about this video? No, this wasn't the complete scientific method in a perfect world, but I think it gives us a good idea of the performance we can expect to see in patch 1.6. In comparing it to previous patches, I don't know what the performance gain is, but I can tell you the game looks and feels different. It honestly does. So if you have some benchmarking tools out there and you've maybe have something to look at what it's improved, let us know. We're trying to increase the performance in Cyrodiil effectively, and setting it to ultra and still getting good performance is a top priority. I know we all want an awesome rocking looking game, so if you have some frame rate per second tips that doesn't sacrifice quality, please leave them in the comments. As always, thanks for watching this. Let me know if you like this sort of thing. If you don't, I won't do it anymore. But if you do, let me know. And if you haven't got 4K yet, save up the money. It's worth it. Thanks, gang.